Hello everyone, this is Cody Lee of BlackNapBooks.org, author of I the Dragon, Cruel and Beautiful, Rabbit Hole, King Dia, Lauren Frey, Grim Clover, Internet Blood Sports, and the upcoming Jaw of the Dragon. We really need to talk about this. Actually, this specific topic has been long overdue. This is really something that really needed to be talked about in 2014. I saw no one do that. Not a single person really got to like the nitty gritty of Gamergate. Not a single person came out and said, I wonder if gaming journalism was corrupt before all these feminists came into the sphere. Like, no one stepped up and really acknowledged that the gaming industry, the gaming journalism industry has always been corrupt, has always been full of shills, and has always been full of parasites, right? Like, nobody other than me really spent a lot of time talking about that. Now, I'm sure there are a lot of other people like on the internet talking about game journalism corruption, but I don't see a lot of them associating it with Gamergate and the SJW sphere because they're very much connected, right? And what a lot of people don't realize is that there is a very concentrated effort among SJWs to subvert and destroy Nintendo franchises. Now, I know you're thinking, oh yeah, Nintendo is going woke. They're becoming blue pill. They're making everyone gay. No. That's not what's happening at all. What's happening is that gaming journalism, the Western gaming sphere, is trying to force Nintendo to bow to their will by promoting this kind of degeneracy and making it seem more popular than it actually is, hoping that it catches on in Japan and hoping that it becomes a big deal. But the thing is, I have seen absolutely no evidence that Nintendo has cucked at all, right? And the issue I've had since 2014 is that the narrative has always been oh yeah, Nintendo will be the first to break, they'll be the first to cuck, they'll be the first to become degenerate, not based PlayStation, not based Bungie, not like our base third parties. And what happened? Every single company other than Nintendo is significantly more woke, but with significantly less backlash. And we've kind of seen this several times over the past year with people bitching about Xenoblade Chronicles 3, bitching about the upcoming Pokemon games. I have seen a lot of people bitching and moaning about Nintendo allegedly censoring games and making characters gay or LGBT friendly or whatever, bowing to the pause, right? Meanwhile, Sony has literally relocated their HQ to California and has put out absolutely nothing of value in the past several years. I would say since maybe Gravity Rush is the last time I was legitimately interested in a game from them. Everything else has been shit so far, right? Everything else has been woke from them, subversive. It's been a downward spiral for them. And yet somehow I see no one talking about that. And yet supposedly there is this very real push among Pretendos to pretend that there is something wrong at Nintendo. It goes beyond simply saying that they don't have games, they can't compete. Mario Kart 8 DLC doesn't look good. There are no games I'm interested in this year. There's too many anime games. There have been all these nonsense complaints over this past several years. But I do think the most ridiculous, one of the most ridiculous, is the censorship allegations. Is the claim that they are pandering to the SJWs, because there is no evidence for that. Now, I think a lot of people are getting it twisted at the moment because there have been some articles published about Xenoblade Chronicles 3 and about how some character is allegedly non-binary. People really need to understand this. It's not true, right? Just like how Xenoblade Chronicles 2, Morag wasn't a lesbian, or that Pandoria wasn't non-binary. I've seen people claim that Pandoria was supposed to be non-binary. I've seen people push that shit, right? They didn't bring up the harem shit, which was canon, but they did try to push the LGBT stuff, the degenerate, demeaning stuff, right? In fact, the harem stuff, which is canon, is considered problematic in their eyes because it makes Rex look like an absolute Chad, Indominus Rex, as I'm calling him. these game journalists are pushing a narrative, right? It's not real. Okay, like the stuff they say about Nintendo just isn't true. Like Toad being non-binary, not true. Vivian being trans, greatly exaggerated, right? He's basically a femboy stereotype, which have existed in Nintendo games for, since Birdo, I think. 1988, like Super Mario Bros. 2, the Doki Doki Panic. Like, it's not unheard of for them to go down this route. Right? Like using those kind of characters as like a fucking joke. The problem with woke shit is when not only do you like try to present this as normal and acceptable, you try to push it as like the ideal situation in society, like better than traditional character designs. That's or like shitting on established characters. Because like really creatively, you can do whatever you want, right? But there has been like a very clear push among like Western creators to try and push like woke concepts into the mainstream. I actually just watched some Futurama clips about like how Amy got Kith pregnant because like he's an alien species, and they don't reproduce the way humans do. Like the males get pregnant and then they get sent out into the galaxy or some shit. Like it dawned on me while I was watching that like they have been pushing these kinds of narratives for a long time, right? Like I've seen like interviews about a Star Trek character that's like a parasite that goes from like human host to human host or something that like refers to itself as like, I was a young man once, when it's like a female actress, right? Like stuff like that. Like they've been trying to like normalize this kind of behavior for the longest time, and it's really not going to work, honestly. I don't see there's nothing wrong with having like androgynous characters, right? There's nothing wrong with having like LGBT characters, like in and of themselves. Like creatively speaking, you can do whatever you want, right? The problem with woke shit is that it is specifically pushing an established agenda that's put forward by like academia and like the establishment and like the people who call the shots. And not because like the creators are actually like wanting to tell this story or do this thing with this character or have this kind of like perspective on things. Like there's nothing inherently wrong with thinking outside the box and doing like something wild and creative, but we're seeing with this Pretendo backlash to like everything Nintendo does. We are seeing a dedicated group of people like accusing them of being woke, of accusing them of being like selling out to like to improve their ESG score or whatever the fuck. Like I've heard that over and over again, and it simply is not true. I don't respect it. I don't value it at all. And you people really need to shut the fuck up.